Yo, what is up YouTube? JT2 Valid here, back at it again with another video. Real quick, I just want to say to the people who watch my content, I highly appreciate you guys. I'm currently recording this at 12:20 p.m. I have work at 3 a.m. So if you're wondering why I'm not asleep, I am up recording YouTube content. I just want to thank you guys, all 857 of you guys. You know, it really means a lot to me. I really like making content, you feel me? And seeing, some of these videos, I got the channel posted up, on my second monitor. Seeing some of these videos, the view count may be a little bit low, but it's still, it's still a viewer rate. And I really appreciate that from you guys. Some of these videos, 26 views, 45 views, 82 views. That may not be a lot considering, other people do way better than me. But to be honest, I don't really like to compare. And I kind of look at it as like, if I were to have a party, I couldn't even invite 45 people to a party. You feel me? So I just really want to, thank you guys. And, I appreciate all you guys' support. But yeah, that's basically all I want to talk about for the intro. There has been other stuff that's been going on that's been keeping me from posting, but I don't want to talk about that at this point. I kind of want to leave that later on to, when I get a little bit bigger. But hey, we're going to stick through it. Trust me. I'm trying to pump these videos out as much as I can. I want to do daily uploads. I want to dedicate a whole month of me just uploading for the entire month, just every day. But, I got school, I have work and stuff like that. It's kind of in a tough position right now. But hey, I'm going to keep trying, because this is what I really want to do. So yeah, but without further ado, let's get into the video. So this story time takes place back in middle school in the 6th and 7th grade. Now, if you guys watch me or if you're a recurring fan or something like that, then I kind of talked about this in the Why I Will Never Miss My Middle School Days Yap session. But this video is kind of like to further, go into detail and, tell the story, in full depth. So just to give a little recap on even why I attended this middle school, it was basically because all of my friends and we had a dream to apply to this one school, and it was handpicked students. And, we had to go audition. Long story short, all my friends got it and I didn't, and I had to go to this school that was like 40 minutes away from my house because my parents didn't want me going to any of the local schools because they had a bad reputation. And back then, this really pissed me off because I had a middle school that was quite literally right down the street. Like, I could really just walk or bike to that school and it wouldn't even be a problem. But my mom said, no, you're not going there. And now we had to drive 40 minutes to and from the school that I was going to. And it really sucked major dong because I already had to wake up early enough to even go to middle school. But it was the fact that I had to wake up even earlier because we were 40 minutes away. So I had to wake up an extra early amount, if that even makes sense. If that even was grammar. So fast forward to me even being in the school, and I quite literally hate this school. I was basically one of the only handful of black kids who attended the school. I did not fit in with any groups. I did have my little clique though, so there was that going for me. But there was this one particular, reason why I kept, enduring it. And that was because of Jada. Now, her name obviously isn't Jada. I'm just giving her a name for the sake of the story time. But me and Jada, we weren't friends, but we were cool though. We had a few classes together. We would talk occasionally. I would make some jokes. She would laugh, the rundown, yada, yada, yada. So fast forward to 7th grade year, and I still hate the school, but I got new classes, opportunity to make new friends, this, that, and the third, right? And I'm not gonna lie, all my classes were chill. Yeah, there were some people that I didn't like in the classes, or there's some teachers that I didn't like, but I could push through it. But there was this one particular class with this one particular person that I just straight up did not like. We're gonna call this dude Jeremy. Now, Jeremy was somebody that I just absolutely hated, and it was for such a dumb reason back then. I hated Jeremy because this motherfucker had so much motion. Back then, I was never a man of jealousy, but when it came to Jeremy, I was the most jealous person on earth. Had a lot of friends, made the teacher laugh, can make the whole class laugh, was known by everybody in the school. He was really just that motherfucker for real. Versus me, who really didn't have that many friends, kind of sat alone at lunch and didn't really talk to anyone in class. And I know none of that stuff really matters when it comes to life. But back then, I was like 12 12, 13. That meant a lot to me back then. So fast forward one day and I'm on a little euphoria high. You know, my grades are looking good, looks getting a little bit better. I was a little bit more fit because I was on a basketball team back then. So as I'm enjoying my little euphoria high, I get the bright idea to text Jada's friend. So I'm on Instagram, right? And I DM Jada's friend and I'm like, yo, do you have Jada's number? I'm trying to ask her about a homework piece for our class. Now, obviously, I wasn't trying to ask her about no homework because I was just trying to shoot my shot. I just didn't want to tell her because I didn't want her to make such a big deal out of it and go tell her myself. So she replies with, yeah, okay, I got you. And then she gives me the number and I go up and I get to work, right? So then I text her, I'm like, yo, this is JT. I got a question I want to ask you. And I don't remember what I said, but I know it was definitely not no fucking game. I already know that. So after I shoot my shot, I got blocked by James, obviously, because, you know, it's me. And basically she told me, oh, her parents don't allow her to date, such and such like that, right? And I didn't think nothing of it. I'm like, okay, cool, got rejected. I kind of mentally prepared myself before anyway, so you know, I kind of didn't really care, but at the same time, you know, it's rejection, so it still hurts, right? Now fast forward 30 minutes after that, right? And I get a text from Jada's friend and she says, yo, did you just ask Jada out? And I'm looking at my phone confused because I didn't tell her, so that meant Jada must have told her. And I was like, yeah, Jada must have told you, right? And then she was like, oh yeah, she sent it in the group chat. Excuse me, what? Long story short, I got sent in the group chat and I got made fun of, so yikes. I mean, after a few, I got over it because, you know, that's amazing character development, but I'm like, yo, and in a perfect world, the story would end right there. But it really doesn't. So I'm on the game in a PlayStation party with my homie. We're just gonna call him Josh for the sake of the story, right? So me and Josh and a couple of other of my friends, we're on PlayStation. We're playing Fortnite, you know, stuff like that, right? We're just on the game having fun. And I tell them about the situation and, you know, we're all laughing about it because, you know, I moved on from it. So I just find it funny. So then Josh comes to say, yo, bro, what does she even look like? And, you know, I had her TikTok back then, so I just sent him a link of her TikTok, right? Mind you, we're still in the 7th grade. This is all still taking place in the 7th grade. So this is not like a year after. This is still in the 7th grade. If not, this is like 3 days to a week after the situation, right? So Josh is looking at her TikTok, right? And then he's just scrolling down, you know, he's checking out the videos, you know, this, that, and the third, right? And then I noticed that he starts playing a video, you know, a little bit too much. Like, it sounded like he was watching one of her TikToks over and over and over again. So then he's dead silent, and then finally he goes, yo, JT. I'm like, what's up, man? He then says, didn't this girl tell you that her parents didn't allow her to date? I'm like, yeah, that's what she told me. Why? What's up? He then goes, go to like her 7th video towards the bottom. And so I go on her TikTok, right? Because I'm wondering like, yo, what is Josh talking about? So I go to her TikTok and I go to the 7th video towards the bottom like Josh said, right? And I see, you know, a recently posted TikTok and I'm not thinking nothing of it, right? So as I'm seeing this TikTok, it just looks like a regular TikTok of her in her house, right? And I'm thinking nothing of it. I'm like, yo, why did Josh want me to see that? And right as I finish that thought, she pans the camera over, and who do I see in the corner of her room? Fucking Jeremy. I was shocked. I was appalled. Not only at the fact that Jeremy was the one to get with her, but it was the fact that she lied and said she wasn't able to date. That hurt. That broke me for a bit. I still got my headset on, so I'm over here hearing Josh saying, nah, bro, that's crazy. And I just respond with, yeah, bro, that's actually crazy. Looking back at it now, I kind of view it as karma because I kind of hated, you know, Jeremy for no reason. And I kind of feel like that's the moral of this story. You know, jealousy and envy isn't really kind of, you know, the best assets to have. One thing I realized is that there's always going to be someone with more money, a bigger house, more friends, more everything. And yes, you can admire that and also pay respects to it, but don't be jealous to it. Don't make it seem like that you have to do better or that, you know, just don't compare yourself to other people, because at the end of the day, it's you and you are who you are. And you could also do better in life. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for today's story time. I hope you guys liked the video. You know, I also changed a little bit of the format. Instead of me, you know, talking in front of a camera, I also have, you know, Call of Duty playing in the background. So yeah, that's something for you to watch. But mainly this video is for like, you know, people who are at work or like going to sleep and they just want to listen to certain stuff. But, you know, take it how you will, I guess. Once again, I'm grateful for all of you who support me and come back to my content, and I'm grateful for the ones who took the time to watch this video. All I ask is that you like, sub up, and comment your story times, or comment that you like the video. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for today's video. I love you all. Peace.